Good evening, everyone, and thank you for joining us. Today we'll cover the economic impact of Hurricanes Helene and Milton. Did you know that after Hurricanes Helene and Milton, Florida saw a surge in insurance claims that put an enormous strain on both insurers and business owners? Many small businesses, especially in hard hit areas, faced long delays in claim processing, impacting their ability to rebuild and reopen. To bridge this gap, the Small Business Administration and FEMA stepped in, providing billions in emergency loans and grants. However, even with this assistance, many businesses face significant challenges in covering all their losses, highlighting the critical role that timely insurance and federal aid play in economic recovery after major hurricanes. Today, we'll discuss four critical areas to understand the full scope of this impact. Before we dive in, let me introduce myself. I'm Ladavia Hartman, a skilled business analyst with a deep understanding of the economic impact of Hurricanes Helene and Milton, and I've been working closely with industry experts, Naomi Hilario, an expert in the employment industry, who will guide us through the employment impacts and economic shifts post-hurricane. Carter Glasscock, our real estate guru, will share how property values and the real estate market have been altered. Nicholas Gomez, a seasoned professional on disaster assistance, will discuss the pivotal roles of the SBA and FEMA in supporting recovery. And last but not least, Shanita Pace, a specialist in insurance claims, who will highlight the challenges businesses face in securing the coverage they need to rebuild. With their expertise, we'll explore the interconnected issues that shape recovery and resilience for Florida communities. Turning it over to Naomi, who will dive into the employment industry.
Thank you, Ladavia. I will be covering the employment industry. Micro, small, and medium-sized enterprises, or MSMEs, are vital to Florida's economy, accounting for 88% of all businesses in the state. These enterprises operate in various sectors such as tourism, retail, construction, agriculture, healthcare, and more, contributing to job creation and economic growth. Importantly, MSMEs in Florida employ about 65% of the state's workforce, or 2.6 million workers, including many who are self-employed. Milton and Helene's path had a devastating impact, directly hitting 60% of these MSMEs. This disruption affected not only the businesses themselves, but also a significant portion of Florida's labor force. In terms of economic output, the MSMEs in the hurricane's path contributed to 48% of Florida's total economic activity. These statistics highlight the critical role MSMEs play in Florida's economy and how vulnerable they are to natural disasters like hurricanes. The damage caused to these enterprises have significant implications for the state's employment and overall economic health. Now handing it over to Nicholas, covering disaster assistance.
Thank you, Naomi. First, I'll be touching on Small Business Administration funding. So far, 37,000 businesses have applied for disaster assistance funding from Hurricane Helene alone, and an additional 12,000 from Hurricane Milton. These businesses were allowed to apply up for $2 million in disaster assistance, while real estate businesses were allowed up to $500,000, with an additional $100,000 for business personal properties. But now, these funds have been completely depleted due to the two storms. So, Florida has rolled out emergency one-year disaster funding aimed at 0% interest with $50,000 limits for all businesses in the state. And also, to make up for the lack of funding, senators have introduced the Relief Act, restoring an economic lifeline with immediate emergency funding, which will provide up to $2.48 billion in lending capacity. And next, I'll be talking about FEMA disaster assistance, which will apply to homeowners and renters. So far, $1.2 billion has been provided across 6 states, which include Georgia, Florida, North Carolina, South Carolina, Tennessee, and Virginia. Newly approved $2.4 billion funding has been set aside, with $1.3 billion going directly to homeowners and renters alike, with an additional $1.1 billion going to debris cleanup across the states. Due to the massive number of individuals affected and FEMA being severely understaffed, nearly half of all calls to FEMA went unanswered during this time. And those who were able to get an answer had an average wait time of over an hour for disaster relief assistance. I will now be passing this off to Carter, who will be covering real estate.
Hello, I'm Carter, the real estate guru. If you take a look at the right, there is a hypothetical map analysis indicating the property values affected by Hurricane Helen and Milton. The unaffected areas shot up in property value due to the fact that they weren't affected. So they're prime real estate for the area. And for the affected areas, they went down substantially because of fears of hurricanes hitting that area again. And for the most affected people are mom and pop businesses because they do not have the resources or the means to restart their businesses, because what if that was their only business? In comparison, there are these big corporate chains that have the means and the resources to take those hits and those losses and rebuild. So I will now be passing it on to Shanita.
Thank you, Carter. And even though these storms have long passed, the residents are now challenged with various obstacles from their insurance companies. Florida is known for their frequent hurricanes, and as a result, residents have seen insurance premiums rise in recent years. These hurricanes have costed an upwards of $30 billion in damages, with approximately $4 to $6 billion of these damages affecting uninsured homeowners and business owners. An estimated 237,000 claims have been filed from homeowners and business owners, with even more claims being filed every single day. Of these insured owners, residents are unable to receive any financial compensation from their insurance companies unless they specifically have flood insurance. As a result, many of these uninsured residents are facing financial hardships as they are forced to cover costs out of pocket. Next, I will be discussing how businesses and restaurants have permanently shut their doors as they can no longer afford to operate. Alvarez Mexican restaurant, depicted in this image, is a beloved diner and among many of the businesses that had to shut down their operations. This locally owned restaurant served the area for 48 years, but owners have decided to shut down after the extensive damages following the hurricanes. The owners claim that they are still waiting for their insurance company to visit the restaurant and assess damages, and have created a GoFundMe campaign in hopes to gather financial support from locals as they wait on their insurance. Similarly, other restaurants and business owners find themselves waiting to hear back from their insurance companies as well. Many business owners have reported extremely high insurance deductibles, and as a result, they've turned to federal assistance. As previously mentioned, the Small Business Administration, or SBA, is offering loans and grants to businesses to give them a sense of normalcy. These grants and loans offer a very temporary financial relief while insurance claims are still being processed. Now I'll be turning it back to LaDavia to reiterate our highlighted points.
Thank you, Shanita. As we wrap up our look at the economic impact of Hurricanes Helene and Milton, it's clear that these storms did more than damage infrastructure. They reshaped the economic landscape of Florida in lasting ways. We've seen how employment in affected industries faced substantial disruption, the critical roles played by the SBA and FEMA in providing vital support, the shifts in the real estate markets, and the challenges businesses encounter with insurance claims. These storms underscore the complexity of economic recovery, revealing how employment industry, real estate, and financial support systems are when it comes to rebuilding a resilient community. I hope our insights today have highlighted not only the hurdles, but also the opportunities for creating a stronger, more prepared economic foundation for the future. I'd like to thank my teammates Naomi, Carter, Nicholas, and Shanita for their expertise and contributions, and to all of you for your engagement today. Thank you.